What's up, guys? Tim Little. Welcome back to Tactical Bassin. Today's video, we have another electronics video for you. What do fish look like on sonar? 2D sonar, down imaging, and side imaging. Let's go. Today's electronics are so much better than they've been just a few years ago, and it's been a little while since we've done one of these videos. So today, hopefully, we're gonna have some review for a lot of you guys. Those of you guys have never seen one of our sonar videos or side imaging, down imaging videos, we'll link the previous ones down below in the video description. But there's a lot of new technology, and today's electronics are so much better, like I said, than previous years. So what do fish look like? Today's video going to kind of cover some of that stuff, show you some different things to look for, what they look like on 2D sonar, down imaging, and side imaging. Hopefully you guys can put this information to utilize when next time you're out on the water. It doesn't matter if you have an entry-level electronics unit or state-of-the-art stuff. How's it going, bud? Today's video hopefully will give you guys some tips on how to see better subsurface with your electronics and catch more fish. So let's jump behind the console and we'll start idling through here and kind of show you guys what I'm looking at and show you guys how I'm interpreting what my sonar is telling me. So 2D sonar can be an awesome tool. Over here we have your side imaging, 2D, and down imaging. You can see right here we got a school of fish, some arches, side imaging over here. You can see all the fish over here. So you can see how today's electronics really help out today's fishermen, right? You got school right here. You can see compare the 2D sonar with the down imaging. I'll zoom in on these for you guys so you can really see them on screen. Bait fish up here. See all the different isolated fish right there? That's a school of white bass, I believe. But you can see how having newer electronics these days really help us as fishermen finding fish. You know, the side imaging, down imaging, that's really key for finding good offshore structure, rock piles, hard spots. You can see over here, you can see the shoreline over here. You got mud to rocks. You can see transitions. But today, what do fish look like? And to first, to get started, you have a transducer in the back of the rear of your boat. That is shooting a sonar ping down to the bottom, and that is bouncing back, and then your unit is taking that data and displaying it on the screen. The first thing to understand is that is not a straight beam, that is a cone. Depending on the frequency you're running, typically your cone is going to be the width, 1/3 the width of your overall depth. So if you're in 30 feet, the area that your cone is scanning is 10 feet. So that really comes into play if you're vertical fishing and you see fish coming through your sonar. But you can see right here, see how we have arches? Right now we're idling at about 4 miles an hour. So our cone is shooting down and we are going over these fish. That's what creates the arch. So anytime you have an arch on the screen, that is your sonar reading a fish. Now you can see this arch right here, how it has some red to it. That is a bigger fish. See that right there? That is a bigger fish than this guy right here. That is the fish, the stomach and the air bladder showing up on the 2D sonar. So to the average person, this doesn't look like anything, but hopefully by the end of this video, you can tell that those two are fish, that's a fish, that's a fish, that's a fish. Coming up on, that kind of looks like a tree branch. That's where the combining your 2D with your down imaging really gives you that picture-like picture. Let's go back to 2D. Again, I'm trying to stay over here in the shade, guys, so there's not too much glare. But it's really important to be able to look at what your fish finder is telling you and analyze it and get the best picture in your mind of what's really going on down there. So I'm gonna flip around to stay in the shade over here, give you guys some shots of the 2D and the down imaging, and hopefully give you guys a better understanding of what fish look like on all 3 different types of sonar. All right, I got some boats that came in behind me as I looped around, but we'll try and weave our way through and show you guys what these fish look like. So let's get this over here, clear it off. So this is gonna be your bottom readout. That is gonna be your depth. Now for some of you guys, this is really review. This is information that you already know. Some people don't know this at all, and we're doing this video for everybody. So if you're a first-time boat owner with a 5-inch entry-level sonar unit, this is gonna be your depth. Now, like I said, today's electronics are amazing, so even the entry-level units today are better than, way better than units, you know, just a few years ago. So if you can get your hands on a unit that has side imaging and down imaging, that is the best case scenario, because then you can really take a look at all 3 different views and get a really good understanding of what's going on. So right now we got bottom down here, got a looks like a little bit of rock down here. Come around this tree over here so we don't hit it. But right there, so that is a standing tree. Let's switch over to down imaging so you guys can really see what that looks like. See that right there? That is a laydown. Now fish are gonna be all around that. You see these arches right here? Those are 2 nice fish sitting next to that laydown. Again, we'll make a couple different passes, so we'll show the 2D and then we'll show the side imaging and down imaging compared. But again, it's all about seeing what's going on down there, and having the different views really helps out with 1, showing fish and structure, but 2, cross-checking between the different types of sonar and really seeing what you're looking at. Now this right here, I'm gonna go ahead and stop right here. This is a giant school of either gizzard shad or white bass. You can see some bigger arches off the side of it, but taking a look over here, there's the down imaging. Let's look at side imaging. You can really get a good picture of what that is. See all those fish right there? Got a big tree lay down here, and all that school of fish off the side over here really helps with understanding what's going on down there. Now, like I said, we got a few boats up ahead of us, so I'm gonna have to loop around behind them so I don't get in their way, but we'll keep this going. All right, right here, let's see these arches. Blow this up for you guys. Fish, fish, fish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fish right there. Lots of activity going on over here. So that right there is what fish look like on 2D sonar. If you guys have seen that, you're around the fish. Now, with that said, the arches, like I said before, that's when the fish are coming in and out of your sonar cone. If you're up front on your trolling motor and the fish are below you, there's gonna be a straight line. There's not gonna be an arch because you're not coming and going over the top of that fish. They're gonna be right below you and it's just gonna be reading that straight line. So you can drop down and fish for those vertically. How's it going, guys? It's called TacticalBassin. Showing electronics right now. You guys catching them? There's a nice school right out here on bait. So here we come into a giant school of bait. But that is a giant school of either gizzard shad or white bass. Now watch when I switch over to the down imaging. See how you can get those separate individual fish? That is why it's so important, if you can, to get a fish finder that shows the different views. Okay, let's go ahead and loop around, and we'll get a lot better look at what these fish look like on side imaging and down imaging. Now, let me start off by saying it's a lot easier to see individual fish on 2D sonar than side imaging or down imaging. Now, the reason being, right now I'm scanning 120 feet out to each side of the boat. Okay, so when you're taking let's talk about a big bass, 20 to 24 inch bass, right? 22 foot in 120 feet, that's gonna be really, really hard to see out there by itself. Side imaging is great for finding offshore structure, bait balls, and fish on bait. What I like to tell people is that your sonar ping is like a flashlight. It is shooting on 2D sonar, it is shooting straight down out the bottom of your transducer, bottom of your boat, down to the bottom and coming back up. Side imaging is going straight out the sides, right? Left and right. And a lot of times you can see what you're looking at better at the shadow than the actual readout on the face of this readout. So right here, it looks like we got a lay down. You can see by the shadow, it's a tree right there. Over here, got a couple different fish right there. Over here, we got some suspended fish. This gap right here, that is your depth. So that is your depth. This is the rear of your boat. The back of your boat right there, that is the transducer. You got the shoreline over here. So you can see how the side imaging really, really helps with showing you what's going on structure-wise. Yes, you can see suspended fish fairly easily, but when you're really looking for those individual fish, those big fish that like to be alone, solitary, go with the 2D sonar. You'll be able to find them on the side imaging and stay on top of them, or fish for them on the 2D sonar. It's a lot easier seeing those arches. So let's make another pass through these guys. We'll give them a little bit of time, and then I'll show you what these fish look like on the side imaging. So I went ahead and switched my side imaging over to my Solix 12. So down here, let's look at 2D. Again, we're gonna try and stay out of these guys' way, but you can see here is a big school of fish. Got a little bit smaller fish down below. Here's what they look like on down imaging. Right there. See that? Another school. And then side imaging, you can see them below the boat and off to the right side of the boat. So having the ability to switch between the three screens is really, really nice. But like I said, if you have an entry-level unit and you're just using the 2D sonar, this is the type of stuff you are looking for. Again, here's your bottom line, your depth, got your water temp, almost 70 degrees, 69.0. Lots and lots of information off of today's electronics. Again, I'm trying to zigzag between these boats, so don't get in their way, but so what we got a real steep bank right over here, and we got a big mud flat out to the right of the boat. Go ahead and bump this up a little bit, 150 foot. See grass line over here. And some trees right here. Look at this right here. This is what you guys are looking for. That's bait, and see that big arch in there? That arch, That is what you want. Those are fish feeding on bait. It doesn't get any better than that. Those are fish actively feeding on that bait ball. See them all right here, down imaging. Looks like a little lay down here. See over here on the 2D sonar, it looks like just like a rock or a hump or a high spot. Over here you can really get that separation from bottom and see the gap in the bottom and see that it's a lay down. Coming out into the sun, guys, so we'll flip back around. We'll do one more pass. But hopefully you guys are getting an idea of what to look for next time you're out on the water. It doesn't matter if you have a color screen or a black and white screen. You're looking for lines and arches, because that is your sonar cone coming over and off of the tops of those fish. Look at these guys right here. See that kind of ziggly, that kind of wiggly line? That is a fish that's staying with us, kind of coming up and down. All right, guys, now we have 4 boats out here on, it's not even a long strip, it's only probably a couple hundred yards, but I don't want to get in their way and keep running back and forth. You know, when we first started this video, I was the only boat here. But we got some boats in the way, but hopefully that gives you an idea of what to look for. Again, you know, 2D sonar is a must in order to tell your water temp, your depth. Look for those arches, look for those lines. Like I said, if it's a line, just a suspended up off the bottom line on your 2D sonar, that is a fish that is hanging with you. A lot of times these fish will hang down below the boat and you can drop a drop shot down, you can drop a spoon down, something vertical and catch those fish. They're just gonna keep with you in that cone. Again, like I said, your sonar ping is not a straight line. It's more like a V cylinder at the bottom. It's a cone. So you got, like I said, a third of your depth is the width of that cone. So really easy number to think of. If you're in 30 feet of water, the cone, the widest area that you are reading on your 2D sonar is gonna be 10 feet wide. So if you see a fish down there, it's within 10 feet circumference of your trolling motor. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, I know these electronics can be really overwhelming, and it's unfortunate because the technology is so good. You know, I see a lot of guys, they don't even, you know, they have the nicest units on their boat, but they don't spend the time to really learn them, and it can be a time saver. It could turn those bad days into good days, and you can just have a lot more success when you know what you're looking at or what you're looking for. So again, those lines, those arches, on side imaging, down imaging, white dots, that's going to be the air bladder on the fish. Down to 3 boats, 1 boat just left, but that's going to be the air bladder on the fish. Those really show up. If you are looking at your side imaging, your down imaging, mainly your side imaging, the shadow. Like I said before, your sonar beam, instead of shooting straight down like the 2D, now you are shooting out the side of your boat, and it's like a flashlight. So go out tonight, take a flashlight and shine your light. You're gonna get a real bright readout on what the light hits, but behind it you're gonna have a shadow. And a lot of times, especially on the side imaging, the shadow actually gives you more detail than the bright readout itself. So I'm gonna overlay some screenshots because as I'm sitting here, we got, here we go. I'm gonna flip this around for you guys real quick. You guys can see this right here. So that's 2 fish right there that we went over. These 2 lines are fish that we went over slowly. You know, I'm not on the big motor. I'm not idling anymore. I'm not covering any distance really. So sometimes you'll get half arches or you'll just get kind of weird lines like that. That is the cone not picking up the entire fish. It's going over like 2/3 or half of the fish. But those straight lines were fish that were staying with us, and then eventually we just drifted off. But hopefully this gives you guys more insight to what you're looking at. Again, like I said, these units today are so good. A lot of them you can really dial in, play with the frequencies, play with the sensitivity, and get a real picture-like picture of what's going on down there subsurface. If you guys have any questions, please leave those down below in the comment section. Again, want to do a few more passes, but with the bright sun, you get real reflective on the screen. So I want to stay in the shade line. I want to stay on these fish. But hopefully you guys got an idea of what fish look like on today's electronics. If you guys have any questions, like I said, leave those down below. I will get to those as soon as possible. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you learned something, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you soon.